You've heard it once, you've heard it 1,000, you've heard it a million times. No matter the industry, no matter the field, no matter the discipline. It's not who you know, it's what you know. And I'll be talking about this through the lens of filmmaking, no pun intended. But of course, this is not just limited to that. Like I said, any field, industry, discipline, you will hear this phrase. This is just my domain, so to speak, as of right now. So that's why I will be talking about it in the filmmaking sense. It's not about what you know about filmmaking, it's about who you know in the film industry. It's more about making connections and knowing the right people more than anything. But is that true? Yes and no. Like many things in life, nothing is black and white. Everything is nuanced. Nothing exists in a vacuum. Real quick, I just want to say that I don't really consider myself someone who is in the industry, the film industry, as I haven't been a part of any major crazy productions with huge budgets or anything like that yet. Of course, I have been blessed to work with a lot of cool and dope people in front of and behind the camera. So I will be using some personal stories to talk about how it's never just who you know or what you know. So I'm going to talk about how I got the chance to work with someone that I am a huge fan of. And before we get into the actual story, it's important to say that I've been shooting since about 2016. So I've been shooting for a while, constantly learning and honing my craft and refining and making videos with my friends, making mistakes, learning, things that I still do to this day, obviously. And I want to say this because context is important, and I don't want to just tell this story and make it seem like this came out of nowhere. I've been doing this for a while, and the thing that I'm talking about now happened last year, I think. So from 2016 to 2024, right? Just some context and just some perspective. That's all the context that I'm going to give. So now we're going to really get into the story. And the first half really is just going to be a story time. So bear with me. It has a purpose. If you're doing some chores, put this on while you're doing some chores. Maybe you're driving right now. Have me on as a podcast. Maybe you're straightening up your room. Just ride with me for this story time real quick. This is the first half. Second half, we're actually going to talk about what I think about the story. Okay. So it's 2022, and I go to this art show type of thing with my boy Cavallo. Shout out that boy Vallo. Go follow him on Instagram. Check out his music. A very dope artist. And I run into a former classmate of mine that I went to high school with, who was also a super dope cameraman at the time, and currently still is. Shout out to that boy Vic. Follow him on Instagram. Now, one thing leads to another. He invites me to a music video shoot that he's doing for an artist in the area. I believe at the time he wanted me to do behind the scenes pictures and videos for this. Naturally, I agree. I'm like, hell yeah, let's do it. I love being on set, and I was aware of the artist at the time. That artist actually being my dog, my homie, Henry B. Styles. If you don't know her, super dope artist in the area. Go follow her on Instagram. Go check out her music and check out the video we made for her song High Now, which, fun fact, is my favorite song by her of all time. I played that song so many times before I even knew her. I was bumping that song. Anyway, back to the story. So like I said, I was mainly just there for behind the scenes, but me being me, I was more than happy to get in there, get active, help out with the grip gaff, just be a helpful hand on set. I think I actually did some camera op that day as well. So after the music video, it went great. It went amazing. You should check that out too. Henry B. Girls, fire video, super fire. But me and the director start chatting. A guy by the name of Brandon. Shout out to Brandon. Basically just having that conversation. Thank you for the help. You were great on set. You were super helpful. This, that, and the third. And me being me, I'm like, I appreciate it. If you got any more things that you think you need help on, I would love to help out. Let's keep this train rolling. Yeah, and we do just that. He'll have a shoot, and he was like, hey, if you're free or available, we'd love to have you on this one. And if I'm free, I'm there. I think it goes without saying, but worth mentioning, all the while I'm still doing my own projects. I'm still learning. I'm still working with my friends. I'm still, improving. I'm still being a student. I'm still making friends. I'm still making connections, all that stuff. So while all this is going on, I'm still doing my own thing. I'm still getting better. I'm still working. So fast forward about a year later, so 2023, I think we're at. I get a text from Brandon saying, "Yo, there's this artist in the area having a shoot. His name is Junie. They just need a lot of hands on set. I think you should pull up." So I didn't know who Junie was at the time, but I did a quick Spotify search, and then I was like, "Okay, yeah, I'm there. Hell yeah." I got in so much trouble for this shoot at my job because I was working full time at the time, and they kept rescheduling and canceling. And every time they rescheduled and canceled, I called out, and I ended up calling out so much. Like, they were so fed up with me. I wasn't gonna lose my job because they know better, but they were definitely upset with me. So the shoot finally happens. I get there. Me being me, I come prepared with gear. I'm figuring out the game plan. I'm being proactive. I'm being productive, but I'm also having a great time, which is also really important. And we'll talk about that later. Eventually, I talked with the director, who is none other than Sir Wax Bando himself. Shout out to Wax. Shout out to the homie. Shout out to my sensei, Sensei Wax. At this point, me and Wax had followed each other for a couple years now. I followed him simply because, I mean, he's like one of the greatest in the DMV. And I was not expecting him at all to follow me back when I followed him, but he did. And naturally, I was like, oh, hell yeah. I was hyped. But naturally, we just started showing each other love on the gram, liking. I always make sure I comment, just like spread genuine love if I really like something. And also, sidebar, going off script, but that's something that's easy and costs you nothing and will like do so much for you in the future. If you like something on Instagram, like it and leave a comment, but leave a genuine comment. Like, we know when people just like throw some emojis under some shit or whatever. Leave a genuine comment and let that person know that like this is actually really cool. Like, you never know what someone needs to hear. Like, maybe they needed to hear a genuine compliment because they're like going through something or teetering and they don't know whether they want to continue or not. People are way more intuitive than you may think. So hearing and receiving a genuine compliment, they can tell when it's genuine, and that can just be the start of a great relationship. There's so many, man, I'm not going to get on this tangent, but like, I've met a lot of cool and dope people, and like it started with just like me leaving a genuine compliment because I genuinely like their stuff. Moral of the story, if you genuinely like something, if you feel moved by something you see, say that. Tell people these things in the moment. Okay, back to the story. Also important to mention, at this time I was pretty good, right? I was getting pretty good at what I was doing. So there was that mutual respect there as well. Also worth noting, I know currently I have somewhat of a following on Instagram in particular. At this time, I did not have that following. So if you were thinking like, oh, yeah, you both have a bunch of followers, blah blah blah, I didn't have a bunch of followers at the time. If you were thinking that. Okay, back to the Junie shoot. We make that IRL connection, me and Wax, on set, doing great, having a great time, whatever. Similarly to the shoot with Brandon earlier, we had that conversation. This is a great shoot, had a great time, yada, yada, yada. Let's keep this train going. And that's exactly what we did. If he had a shoot where he felt like I could be of help, he called me up and we did the thing, just constantly building that relationship, building that trust. And then that fateful day happened. I remember exactly where I was and what I was doing and my reaction. But I'm at a job interview for this music studio, like a social media person type job. And they're showing me like their editing process, like on Premiere, and just like kind of how their workflow and stuff. And I'm sitting behind him, so he can't see me. Like, he's in front of the computer like this, and I'm just like sitting behind him watching. And I get a text from Wax, and he's like, "Yo, we got another shoot coming up for Corday." And at this point, we had done some shoots with Corday. I think we did his Mad as Fuck video at that point. So this would be like the second Corday video that we did. But it was Corday featuring Joey Badass. And when I read Joey Badass, I was already sitting down, but if I wasn't sitting down, I would have been sat right there, let me tell you. Me in middle school, me and Joey Badass were like this, bro. Like, yeah. And there you have it. That's how I got to shoot with Joey Badass. So crazy. So crazy. In my opinion, this story is a perfect way to exemplify the fact that yes, two things can be true. What you know and who you know are both super important. Whether one is more important than the other, to me, is not relevant because having one without the other is never going to be more beneficial than having both together. Even if I do get on all these sets, if I don't know what I'm doing, if I'm not pulling my weight, if I'm not being an asset to the team, if I'm not being a person that you want to have around, I don't get a call for the next one. And then I don't get a call for the next one and the next one and the next one. And then I don't get on set with Joey and I don't get to shoot with one of my favorite artists. I don't get to tell him, hey man, you were my first concert ever. I actually told him that. And he asked a follow-up question. I had a conversation with that guy. Super cool dude, bro. Super cool dude. Like we were at this Airbnb and like we were just like getting things together, whatever, whatever, whatever. Like it was one of the locations. And I just peep him just like chatting with like the owner of the Airbnb, like just like real calm, casual, this like older lady. Just like they knew each other. I was just like, look at this dude, bro. Look at this dude. And another thing that I really want to chat about is the idea and the topic of being a person that people want to have around because I think that is a more important thing than people realize, and I think it will get you a lot farther, a lot faster. But what do I mean by this? What do I mean to be this type of person that people want to have around? To me, it comes down to two things: being competent and being a decent person. Being competent in this context is pretty self-explanatory. You know, just knowing what to do on set, being helpful, being attentive, being on point. But in other fields, disciplines, and areas, you know, just knowing your stuff. You know, being an asset, not being a liability generally, right? Like being a student, learning, honing your craft, right? And like I said, no matter the discipline, no matter the field, you know, this is just something you gain with experience, you know, having a learning and growing attitude. In film aspect, shooting as much as you possible, getting on set as much as you can, wherever you can, right? Learning from people who are better than you. Less talked about is being a decent person. Now, this can be as simple as just not being a dickhead, or it can be as complex as having good people skills. And I truly think this is of the utmost importance, more than virtually anything else, if you ask me. An example I always give people is if there are two people who can virtually do the same job, they can both do it as good as each other. But one is someone that you really like having around, and the other person just isn't as pleasant. Maybe not even a dickhead, just not as pleasant. Who do you think they're going to choose, right? Who do you think they're going to hire? Who do you think they're going to have on their team? And so this is where I think the it's who you know part holds the most truth. Having friends, being able to make friends is just as much as a skill as anything else. Like if we're talking about in the film industry, it's just as much of a skill as knowing how to light or how to operate a camera or knowing how to set up a camera or knowing how to direct and knowing how to write. If I have a gig, right, like who am I going to call? I'm going to call my friends whom I not only love and would do anything for, but I also know they are great at what they do. Now, if you're thinking right now, that sounds unfair, I'm not going to disagree with you. It is actually nepotism. That is the definition of nepotism. But, and in that regard, it's not fair. But what I'm suggesting is not just in film, but like any discipline, anything, you know, just life in general. Being a good person with a good personality and having a good attitude, knowing how to make friends is a skill that will impact you more than you may realize. And if we're being honest, nepotism's not going anywhere. So you can benefit from it too. It's not just for the elites. You know what I mean? But you're also the elites. You're elite. I'll leave you with some practical next steps because if there's one thing I love, it's some practical next steps. Number one, keep going, keep getting better. The best way to ensure that you don't get better is to stop. So don't stop, keep going. Number two, work with the same people consistently. Work with your friends and get better together. You will get better faster. Half of the battle of doing film, especially when we get to a certain level, is realizing that you cannot do anything. You can't do everything yourself anymore. at least not well. So find yourself a group of friends that are also into film, people that you genuinely get along with, people that you're genuinely cool with, and just work together, right? Just be each other's crew so you don't have to go searching for a crew every time. When I started doing that, not only did I meet some of the best people in my life, and I love them so much, but we got so much better, so much faster. Like, it's insane. Like, what I was doing in 2023 compared to like 2024, insane. And then 2024 compared to 2025, even though admittedly I have not shot this much this year, insane still. So work with the same people consistently. Work with your friends. Get better together. Number three, also make a point to work with people who are way better than you. Try to PA as much as you can. That's a cheat code for real. Everyone needs a PA. Everyone wants a PA. Don't look to get paid for this, especially if you're really just coming up. Like, try to find literally the best person you can find or the best people you can find. Just reach out to them, email, DM, whatever, and just like say, hey, I want to be on set. Like, let me PA for you. Like, I'm not looking for bread. I'm looking for on-set experience. Say on-set experience. You want on-set experience. Number four, the last one I'm going to give you is, if you're not confident in your interpersonal skills, I suggest reading a book called The Charisma Myth, or listen to it for free on YouTube. I think it's on YouTube for free. I've read it twice. It's one of my favorite books ever. As the name suggests, The Charisma Myth, it demystifies the idea of charisma. Like, most people think it's either something you have or something you don't have, which is not true. Like most things in life, it's a skill that you can learn. And you don't have to be super extroverted to be charismatic. I'm not a super extroverted person. I'm one of the more extroverted introverts I know, but introverted is the base. Introverted is what I am. So that's a great book. A lot of real practical tips and a lot of just good mental things to keep in mind as well. If you made it to the end of this video, I do want to say thank you. I plan to make more videos, slash most of my videos will just be where I yap, because I am learning that thinking and yapping and helping people are three of my favorite things. So I want to do that more. And I'm not going to limit myself just to film content, even though that's like what I'm known for. It's like my thing, I guess. So just a warning, not everything is going to be film centered. This was film centered, but mainly because I was speaking from the perspective of a film person, but this was not a film video, if that makes sense. But again, thank you for sticking around for the end of this video. I do hope you stick around for more. And if you feel so inclined, I do invite you to like and subscribe. But either way, I really do hope that you stay. And I'll see you next time.